Hi everyone, this is a video on how to breathe for meditation. Probably the first of a series of videos that I'll do on the subject of breath for meditation. And so in this one we're just going to focus on the idea of the natural diaphragmatic breath, how to start working towards that, then how to deepen that, how to train that, etc. So first, most important point for how to breathe for meditation is that if you have in your mind an idea that there is really a right and wrong way to breathe, and you're wondering if you're breathing right, then the good news is if you're alive, you're breathing right. There's no real absolutely right and wrong way to breathe. So don't have to be concerned about that too much. But what we're interested in for meditation is the fact that you want to be able to breathe as naturally as possible. And what that really means is you want to be able to breathe in a way that allows your mind to start calming down, that allows your body and your nervous system to relax more deeply so that your mind isn't being disturbed by signals from your body, your nervous system. And for that, it's really useful to know that your breath and your mind are really tied together, can't be separated. Now, this is understood by all of the major meditative traditions of all cultures of the world throughout history. Anytime you find a meditation tradition, you'll find some understanding of the fact that the breath and the mind go together. So what that means is whatever you do with your breath, your mind will follow. And whatever you do with your mind, your breath will follow, will do the same thing. Right. So now in your meditation, if you're asking your mind to just flow undisturbed, to not go into focusing the awareness on disturbances, grasping disturbances, but rather to get more and more into a groove, into a flow of being undisturbed, then you can do that just by asking your mind to do that, and with techniques of awareness or techniques of concentration. But just by asking your mind to do that alone is possible, but it's quite a challenge, as I think anyone who has an experience or a long experience of meditation, even a beginning experience of meditation, will probably tell you it's quite a challenge to just tell your mind to do what you want it to do. Your mind has its own habits, and so it will do what you've trained it to do up till now. Whatever habits you've given it and you've allowed it to go into, that's what it's going to do. So then it's really useful to know that actually if I get in touch with my breath, and if I do something with my breath, my mind is always going to follow my breath. And so therefore, breath is one of the most useful tools for somebody who wants to start to direct their awareness and to direct their mind. So what does this mean for the meditator? What it means is that in the beginning you want to feel your breath and you want to allow your breath to flow naturally. Now, a lot of times when we talk about natural breath, there's the word that comes up which is diaphragmatic breathing. So what does that mean? The diaphragmatic breathing simply means your breath as controlled, as moved primarily by your diaphragm. Okay, so what's your diaphragm? You can easily Google or Wikipedia some anatomy on your diaphragm. Essentially, just for practical purposes, your diaphragm is a collection of muscle that sits in between your chest and your abdomen. It's connected to your ribs in various places, connected to your spine in various places, and also connected to the pleura, the bags that are holding and protecting your lungs, connected to the bottom of that, And the diaphragm, when you breathe, what happens is if you want to inhale, the diaphragm starts out in a sort of an umbrella or a dome shape. And when you want to inhale, the muscle contracts and activates, pulls down on the pleura, pulls down on the lungs, causes the lungs to stretch down and out, and therefore causes a vacuum. Air comes in. It's called inhalation. Then when you want to exhale, your diaphragm relaxes, the muscles relax, they come back to their natural relaxed position, they push up on the lungs, there's pressure, air comes out, exhalation. So when you're breathing with the natural movement of your diaphragm is just really going inhale, exhale, moving comfortably, naturally, and allowing your lungs to do their work. And that's the job of the diaphragm. That's what it's designed to do. That's what it does best. So then why do we, if it's natural, it's designed to do that, why do we spend so much time, meditators spend so much time talking about diaphragmatic breathing? What's the point? Well, the point is that for many people, that natural process isn't happening so naturally anymore. Something has happened. Now, when I say something has happened, this is really very personal. Right? So everybody's breath is a very personal process. It's something that is affected very much by your mind and emotions, right? Mind and breath are tied together. So when something has changed in your mind and in your emotions, and your emotions and your mind have changed habitually, that will cause very often some change in your breath and also in your body. That's one of the primary principles of the Hatha Yoga, the physical yoga practice, is that the body and the mind are more than connected. The body is a manifestation of just part of the mind. And the breath is also the connecting point. The breath is the bridge between the body and mind. So this is one of the primary reasons why in the physical yoga discipline you work with tensions, weaknesses, and discomforts in your body in order to not necessarily become a wonderful athlete or acrobat. That's not the point. But the point is that if you're becoming aware of those things in your body and slowly relaxing the tensions, becoming aware of the unconscious parts, then you're dealing with those things which are being unconsciously held in your mind. Those tensions, those discomforts, those blocks in your mind as being manifested in your body. So that happens in a lot of places, which is why we have a lot of different postures, a lot of different physical practices to try and use that indirect way of coming to the unconscious mind through the body. But for the sake of diaphragmatic breathing, we're looking really at the diaphragm. What's happening with the diaphragm? So in many cases, people have unconscious tension in the diaphragm. And what that means is that the diaphragm then isn't able to move as naturally as it would do, starts moving a bit less because of that tension. And then, of course, what happens to a muscle when it's moving less than it usually would? Of course, it starts to get a bit weaker as well. So the diaphragm starts to atrophy a little bit, get a little bit weaker, a little bit less capable of doing its job. And ultimately, if that continues on for a long period of time, what else happens when we don't use a muscle or a part of our body for a long period of time? Then we start to also even lose the feeling of that, lose the mental connection between mind and body. So in many cases, we're not feeling the movement of our diaphragm as much as we otherwise would. So then what happens? Well, the diaphragm's not moving as much, perhaps, as it usually would, so we still have to breathe, and so we find another way. And one of the common ways that we use when the diaphragm's not moving as much and not giving us the full breath that we really need to be able to get the oxygen in and get the waste products out, we start using different parts of our body to breathe, right? And that's where various issues can come in. Of course, you change your breath, your mind changes. So if you change the way you're moving your body in order to breathe, there's going to be some change in your mind. So the question is that a good change? Is that a helpful change or not? So one of the common changes that happens is that people start to move more of the intercostal muscles, that's the muscles between your ribs, and move in more of the upper chest to try and get the breath to come in there. And so what happens as a result of that? What happens in the mind? What happens in the nervous system? Well, it's a good question. There has been some scientific studies looking at this over the past many years. In fact, there are scientific studies going all the way back into the 1960s looking at upper chest breathing. And some of the findings were that this is actually this kind of breathing is part of what has been coined the fight, flight, and freeze response. Now, the fight, flight, and freeze response is something like our instinctual reaction to danger. So if we're being chased by, sometimes when I'm in the ashram in Rishikesh, I say to people, if I go across the river, the ashram is next to the Ganga, so if I go across the river and I'm in the forest and a leopard jumps out and starts chasing me, a lot of things happen in my body spontaneously, right? Without me having to think about it, they just happen. I get increased adrenaline, increased stress hormones of various kinds, muscle tension, heart rate, blood pressure, all kinds of things happen. And also, this upper chest breathing happens. It's all the body's response to danger to try and help me in some way of getting out of danger, either by fighting with the leopard, flight, running away, or ultimately, if I can't do either one, freezing. Right? So maybe it's helpful. I suspect it might not be as helpful as we think. But anyway, think about situation where, okay, I'm not in the forest, I'm not getting attacked by a leopard, but I'm just at my computer desk or at a cafe, meeting my friends, having a coffee, writing an email, writing a text message, driving my car, and there's nothing wrong, everything's fine, but that upper chest breathing is going on because my diaphragm is a bit tense. For whatever reason. So, as we know, change your breath, your mind will change. What quite a few studies have found is that actually, however much you're doing that upper chest breathing, many of the other, or all of the other, potentially all of the other aspects of that fight, flight, and freeze response will come along with that upper chest breathing. So just by breathing in that way that is related to stress, that is related to danger, you will invite the adrenaline, the stress hormones, the muscle tension, the blood pressure, the heart rate, and the sympathetic nervous system arousal. All of these things will come. Even though you're not in danger, you don't need those things. They'll come because your breath is signaling that you're in danger. So in that way, these kinds of changes that happen in your breath when your diaphragm isn't moving really as naturally as it could can be pretty dramatic. They can be pretty dramatic for your life. They can be pretty dramatic for your health. They can be pretty dramatic for your emotions and your relationships. Imagine if you're sitting at your office desk typing an email and you're breathing a little bit with your upper chest, your diaphragm's a little bit tense, then what your breath is doing is giving your mind and your body a message again and again with every breath. I'm in danger. I'm in danger. I have to fight. I have to run away. Big deal. Big deal for your mind. Big deal for your emotions. So if you just change your breath to be able to relax your diaphragm, to be able to allow your diaphragm to move naturally so that you can breathe naturally, so that rather than with every breath giving your mind and body that message that I'm in danger, giving your mind and body the message that everything is fine. I'm enjoying my breath. I can relax. There's no problem. Huge change in the mind of anyone that's experiencing one of these two opposites, right? So sometimes I say to students, look, we're talking about this because of meditation. The reason that I'm talking about this is I want whoever's listening to be able to calm their breath down, to be able to breathe deep and natural and enjoy their breath so that your mind can calm down, so that your mind can focus, so that your mind can let go. That's the point here. But honestly, even for people who are not interested in meditation, if you help someone to change their breath, if you change your breath, you will change your life. This is one of the most powerful things you can do. So really worthwhile. So then the question is, how can I do this? How can I get in touch with my diaphragm? How can I retrain my diaphragm to be relaxed, to let go of those habitual unconscious tensions that might be there? And how can I transform my breathing habit so that I'm getting more relaxed with my breath rather than more tense? And so there are various ways to do this. Actually, quite a few of the traditional more classical yoga postures will really help, especially the inversion postures where you go upside down. But there's one posture that my master Swami Veda and his master Swami Rama, and in the tradition, this posture has been taught for a very, very long time to do just this. And so if you come to the ashram, then you'll definitely have at least one class on this posture. The posture is called Makarasana, that crocodile pose. So Makara is crocodile in Sanskrit, Makarasana, crocodile pose. And so this posture is really designed to do just this, to help you to transform your breathing habit, to get in touch with your diaphragm, to let go of tension, to re-strengthen your diaphragm, and to change your breathing habit. And so this is the main practical thing for today's video. And so I'll show the posture. It should be a really easy and comfortable posture for everyone. It's not a difficult posture. If you're feeling uncomfortable in the posture, then something's wrong. It should be really comfortable for everyone, okay? So what you're going to do, just quick description, and then I'll show it. You're going to lie down on the floor on your front, and you're going to spread your legs a comfortable distance apart, just comfortable. If you can, turn your hip joints outside so that the inside of your legs can rest on the floor. That's ideal. If you can't, then what you can do is just rest on your toes, rest on the front of your legs. And then you're going to fold your arms in front of your body, your hands inside your elbows. Find a comfortable, flat, soft space on your forearm, the top forearm, and you're going to rest your forehead on your forearm. Okay, so I'll get down on the floor and just show you how to do this Makarasana, and just demonstrate it for a moment. So here we go. To begin with, just rest comfortably on your front. When you're ready, fold your arms in front of your body, chest slightly lifted, hands inside your elbows, and your legs just resting a comfortable distance apart. Finally, rest your forehead on your top forearm. Make sure your forehead's comfortable, and relax your body. And just allow your breath to flow freely. As your breath flows, feel the movement of your breath in your body. As you watch your breath, you might notice gentle expansion and contraction of your abdomen at your navel. Whatever movement you feel in your body with your breath, just observe it and allow your breath to flow. When you're ready to come out, after 5 or 10 minutes, stretch your arms over your head, rest your right cheek down. Again, relax completely. Stay with your breath awareness. Keep watching your breath. Then you can bring your arms down by your sides, rest your feet and legs comfortably together, even out your neck, change your cheek and rest the other cheek. Again, stay with your breath awareness and enjoy the flow of your breath for a few more breaths. Finally, when you're ready to come up, stretch your left arm over your head and roll gently onto your left side. And then, when you're ready, you can come up to your sitting posture. So that was Makarasana crocodile pose. Once you get yourself into the posture, you want to relax first, let go, and then feel your breath. Allow your breath to flow, and you want to stay there for around about 10 minutes if you can. If you don't have 10 minutes, it's still worthwhile doing even for 2 or 3 minutes. But if you can stay for 10 minutes at least, it's going to have the best effect. And once you've practiced Makarasana, then you can just slowly get up and just take a moment to feel your breath and feel what way your breath has changed, what way your breath was flowing while you were lying down in Makarasana. See if you can just get a sense of that. And what you're doing when you do that, when you do the posture, and then when you feel your breath when you get up, is you're connecting your breath in your mind, and you're slowly developing a new way of breathing, a new habit of breathing. Which I shouldn't say a new way of breathing, that is your natural way of breathing. Right? So you're just giving your mind that way of breathing and slowly starting to develop a new habit of breathing in that natural way. So now, the more often that you can do that, the more effective it's going to be. So best time to do it is just before your meditation practice. Your meditation will probably go really well then, because your breath is really just flowing in a way that's going to help you to relax and to concentrate and focus. But if you can do it several times in the day, that's also going to be really helpful. Swami Rama apparently used to say to his students, famously, that if you practice Makarasana for 10 minutes a time, 3 times a day, then it'll take you 1 month. In 1 month, you'll completely reform, completely change your breathing habit. So that's an encouragement. If you can practice it 3 times a day, it's really worth it. And I would say, if you can practice it 3 times a day, don't just limit yourself to 1 month. I did Makarasana while living in the ashram about 3 times a day for about 3 years. And the reason I did that is because in the morning I do it every morning before meditation. In the evening I do it before meditation. And then in the middle of the day before eating lunch, before my other breathing practices, which I would do before lunch, I would always do it. And it was always a really beautiful experience of actually resting for about 10 minutes or 15 minutes and just allowing the mind and body to really relax, really recover and rejuvenate, get some energy back so that you can carry on with the day and continue to do great things and be really full of energy and focused. So if you can practice 3 times a day, great. If you can't practice 3 times a day, you can try 2. 2 times a day, even though it's not going to be quite as good if you do it 2 times a day, I'm convinced that you're going to be able to change your breathing habit over a period of time. Might take longer than a month, but take your time. Okay, so morning before your meditation or before you eat your breakfast, and then evening before sleeping, 2 times a day is good. If you can't do 2 times a day, you can try once a day. I think anyone can probably put aside enough time for once a day. And it really is, you'll find that if you make it comfortable for yourself, if you use some of the methods of making it comfortable for yourself, then you'll find that you just want to do it again and again throughout the day, because it will really allow you to rejuvenate, relax, and feel much more clear-headed and full of energy afterwards. So I encourage everyone to try it and to give it a go of doing it as often as you can for as long a period as you can, and see what happens with your breath and see what happens with your mind. So that's all there is for the first video on breath for meditation. So we looked at Makarasana, crocodile pose, talked a little bit about diaphragmatic breath. Hope it was useful. I'll do at least 2 or 3 videos on this subject, because there are other subtleties to go into. Working with your breath is really a long process with a lot of subtleties. Your breath and your mind are tied together so closely, so be gentle with yourself when you're working with your breath. And it can take you a very, very long way in your meditation. So enjoy it, and wish you all deep, smooth, joyful breath, natural breath, and wish you good meditations. So thanks a lot. See you next time.